Hi, my name is Norman, and I am a handsome 25-year-old guy living in Chicago. Being pretty much a straight guy, I am easily attracted to beautiful women around me. I have a wonderful job, which surprisingly pays me more than I can spend. Well, the good things end here. Yeah, you heard it right. In my love life, I am one among those who have failed on every occasion. And that made me feel miserable. I have a malfunctioning love life that is destroying all of my wonderful dreams. Of course, like everyone else, I have a dream of dating a wonderful girl and to fall in love with her. Further, I dream of making my crush a soulmate and eventually raising our kids. But then, that dream seems to be an illusion. After long and hard failed dates, finally I realized what I was doing wrong and understood how I can right the wrong. This is indeed a long but fascinating story. Curious to learn about the new recipe that I found in my love life? Before I narrate my story, please subscribe to our channel and support by liking and sharing. Your support is priceless. Okay, back to my story. I first decided to date when I was 16 years old. I was in the 11th grade. I had a crush on a cute girl. Her name was Amanda. She lived right in my neighborhood and was a year older than me. She used to throw her sweet smiles at me whenever our paths crossed. I took it as encouragement and began to fantasize about her. One day, my dad threw a party and invited all of our neighbors. I felt thrilled when Amanda visited my home with her parents. With pretentious intent, I took her to my bedroom and showed her all of the wonderful things that I possessed. I was a great fan of comic books and had vast collections of the same. Amanda showed so much interest in them that I began to feel like a superhero from the comics. I soon noticed Amanda's eyes linger long on one of the pictures where a comic hero was in the posture of hugging a young girl from behind and kissing the back of her neck. I foolishly took it as an invitation and hugged Amanda from behind. For a moment, Amanda was taken aback and tried to get out of my strong grip. Under normal circumstances, I would have left her then and there, but her sweet aroma aroused me so much that I lost my mind. Being in that ecstasy, in such a hyper state, I didn't notice Amanda grab a nearby lamp on the table in the next moment. She banged it hard on the back of my head. For a moment, I felt dizzy and let go of Amanda's body. Then she turned back, and for the first time, I noticed that scary, angry look on her face. Her eyes and cheeks were red with fury. I stood still as if I was petrified. No words came out of my mouth. Before I could recover and apologize for my hasty action, Amanda called me a pervert to my face and told me not to see her again in the future, and then she stormed away. Well, that was my first failure for you. Although it was not a date, in a way it was an indicator of my yet-to-come many failed dates. Of course, that incident created a strong negative impact on my young mind. Since then, I lost confidence in myself and began to develop a fear of rejection. For another 4 years, I stopped asking girls to date. Years later, when I was graduating from business school, I fell in love with one of my co-students named Erica. Somewhere deep down in my heart, I knew that she too reciprocated my feelings. Yet I wasted the precious time of fearing rejection and just didn't ask her out for a date. But one of my buddies, whom I detested, did. Deliberately wanting to get the better of me, he asked Erica out right in front of me. And to my surprise, she gladly agreed. I was disturbed and felt envious. I couldn't do anything other than cursing myself for my procrastination. After a year or so, she dumped him after finding that he was cheating on her with another girl from the same college. This time, I thought I should act fast and approached her and asked her for a date. To my shock, she straight away rejected me, saying that she would rather prefer a cheater than a guy who has no confidence in himself. I was confused. I still didn't get the hang of dating or girls for that matter. After weeks of grief, I realized that there is some sort of formula in dating. I just didn't know what it was. While trying to figure it out, time moved on, and I lost another valuable year. In that process, I graduated, not in my love life, but on my studies. As my graduation scores were much impressive, I found an attractive job waiting for me. Without a second thought, I took the offer and joined the prestigious company, which was full of wonderful, young, and attractive female executives. For the first time in my life, I felt great as I understood that I would have many opportunities in finding myself a date here. Among several female colleagues, Natasha attracted me as I was directly interacting with her every day. She seemed kind and gentle, and that encouraged me to ask her out. Gathering all of my courage and confidence, I did it. Natasha accepted with a cute smile. The next instant, I felt as if the world was in my palm, and that was my first date, no matter how long it took. That evening, I went for our dinner date with Natasha. Being cautious of my earlier experiences, I tried to behave like a perfect gentleman with her. Although she looked gorgeous in her dress, I withheld my compliment, thinking she might take it in the wrong way. I agreed to everything that she said and expressed no opinion of my own. I thought that would show her my compassion. On one end, I was trying to be nice, and on the other end, I was trying too hard to impress her. Some of her opinions were rather arguable, yet I didn't dare to express it and merely nodded my head in agreement. Without realizing, I acted like a typical bootlicker. I said no to alcohol, fearing she might think of me as a habitual drinker. By the end of our first date, Natasha looked rather indifferent and thanked me for the dinner. I asked her about the next date. She cast a sympathetic look at me and whispered that I was not her kind of guy. I was shocked. I just couldn't figure out where I went wrong. I was rejected for being nice, gentle, and compassionate. The next few days, I noticed that Natasha was deliberately trying to avoid me. I felt miserable and unworthy. I knew I hadn't said anything bad or acted foolishly with her on our date, yet she behaved as if I had done something wrong. That hurt my confidence, and for a few days, I took shelter in my depression and daydreams. To my good, 2 months later, Natasha got herself a transfer to another branch, and I felt relieved not to have to see her every day while I was at work. Once she left, I carefully recollected all the conversations that we had on our failed date, and decided to do exactly the opposite of it on my next date. The only thing is that I had to find another girl who attracted me. Fortunately, I didn't have to wait much longer. That's where Samantha came in. Being the latest recruit, she was supposed to work under my wing. As the days went on, we interacted a lot, and I fell for her. She was timid, shy, and nervous all the time. One day, I asked her out, and after a bit of hesitation, she agreed. What would happen this time? Will Samantha and I find each other attractive? Will our date lead to anything serious? Please stay tuned to watch the next episode of my story.